York's classic rock, Q1043.
Ken Dashow, Q104.3, New York's classic rock. Old friend, the man who has kept the flame burning all these years, Johnny Van Zant of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Always great to talk with you.
Same here, man. Same here. You been doing good?
Yeah, thank God. You know, the next generation of people have found our music and have fallen in love with it because it's real music.
Yeah.
The most heartbreaking part, and I share this with everybody, is I've had kids come up to me after a concert or a show and go, "Man, I think he was actually singing. I was looking at his mouth." And my heart freezes, like, because they're so used to just
Yeah.
this and lip syncing that when
Yeah.
they hear you, it's like, yes, that's called real music. That's
Yeah.
called a bunch of people getting together and playing as one. That's why it's magical.
Yeah. Gary Rossington, before he passed away, his thing was, man, we're the real deal. Well,
Yes,
for me personally, because I grew up in that time, if I hear a singer having a hard time singing, I go, well, he probably got a cold or something.
sure.
It's probably not perfect. And that was the cool thing about going and, the mix may not be great, but you go to shows sometimes these days and you're like, wow, that really sounds like the record.
And it turns out it's the record.
It's the record. I,
uh,
I took
Johnny,
my, I took my daughter years ago. There was a big festival here in Jacksonville, and she was like 12, and it was all these bands that I didn't know. Bone, I think one of them was called Bone, Walk the Moon, which Walk the Moon was really good, and they did play a lot of it live. And but some of it I was just like, well, hell, we could have sat at home and
right.
listened to the record.
Oh, that is not what you get with Lynyrd Skynyrd.
No,
50th anniversary. And if there's a band in rock and roll that has had more adversary and
yeah,
kept on going, it's this band, Lynyrd Skynyrd. To me, to just survive the plane crash,
yeah,
much less prosper and keep going. Next man up, Ricky Medlock comes back. You
yeah.
take over for your brother. It's remarkable, but that to me is rock and roll. Is next man up. Let's keep going. You keep going. You keep going.
The music that those guys wrote years ago, just it never ceases to amaze me because we get a lot of young kids at our shows. It's not just
Sure.
that some kid, will say, "Man, we love the song that we just heard. We just experienced it for the first time, and they're playing it." And I always tell people, I say, well, today's Tuesday. There's some kid skipping school and learning the beginning of Sweet Home Alabama on the guitar today.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Gary Rossington, last time, this is going back many years, Gary, may he rest in peace, was up with Ricky Medlock. We were talking about something, and I said, how you put out a song and then the song it has 20,000 different meanings to everybody, in the venue. And for me, for here in New York, 9/11 and that devastating thing. And, the people said, how are you on the air that week? And like next week, I said, well, that was easy. It was just information. We weren't
Yeah,
playing music. We were just giving people information, listening to them, sharing their pain. And my program director said, okay, I want to go back to music on Monday. What are you going to play? And I said, give me a minute, give me a day. And I came back the next day. I said, they wrote the song for me. It happened Tuesday on September 11th. Tuesday's gone.
yeah,
And that was opening the door back up and saying, let's listen to music again. I
yeah.
was crying. I know the audience was crying, but it took that song from something that I've loved to something so spiritual. You can't believe what that felt like in New York City.
Yeah. Now, that was a hard time for all of us. A buddy of mine called me on 9/11, said, man, well, you answered the phone, you're not flying. And of course, I had some gentlemen at my house working, and he said, man, turn on the news. And I seen all that go down. And come to find out, one of my good friends, his name's, well, we call him RJ Buka, who was a New York police officer at the time. His brother was a chief on the fire department, Ron Buka. End up passing that horrible day, and just an amazing time. I'll never forget it, and I hope that they will teach it in school. You know, the thing about whenever I was in school, I don't know about you, but they taught us American versus communism and socialism. Well, they don't really teach that in school, and that, you know, I think we need to remember that day and a lot of other ones and go back to square root one, should I say?
Amen. You know, when I think about Gary Rossington, maybe the most famous count off in all of rock and roll. I've been doing this 47 years. Somebody just asked me last night at a concert. And when I think of, you know, one, two, that I have played that count off, turn it up, I mean, just simply the silliest thing, just saying to the engineer, turn up the headphones, you know, give me more money, turn it up. And that's become this iconic, that's the start of the song.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I've been doing it for the last 38 years.
Hell, absolutely. So getting to this amazing show, Lynyrd Skynyrd, 50th anniversary at the Ryman, which is perfect. Look, Ringo at the Ryman. I'm a huge Beatles fan. We had Ringo at the Ryman, Skynyrd at the Ryman, live album and DVD coming out June 27th. And I've gotten some samples and some clips of it. Guest stars, Brent Smith from Shinedown, your brother Donnie Van Zant, right? I think from 38 Special is there, and Marcus King,
Oh
who,
my,
oh
no,
my God, right, right. What else is there to say? Kid's amazing.
yeah, and John Osborne, man, from Brothers Osborne, the country band, man, that guy can play a guitar. He, you know what? We did a rehearsal with the other guys the day before. John came in and was like, "Okay, let's rip it. Boom, let's go." He was an MCA, and I just kind of stood there and was going, "What a phenomenal guitar player!" But he was raised on Skynyrd. He's a big, huge Skynyrd fan, and of course, we had Jelly Roll.
I
You know,
was just going to say the
yeah,
biggest, hugest Skynyrd fan in the world,
oh yeah,
Jelly Roll,
yeah,
singing Tuesday's Gone, and I saw the video of it, and I was howling. He is holding on to you, Johnny. He looks like a little kid. This gigantic
yeah,
mountain of a man is an
yeah.
8-year-old boy shaking like a leaf. It's the most exciting. There's no two ways about it. It wasn't any stage act. I could tell. He
No,
was freaking out that he was singing with you.
you know what? I really didn't know his music at the time, and our manager Ross Schilling called me. I was in a hotel room, you know what we do during the day, waiting on the show, and we were looking for guests, and we were thinking who would we want to be a part of this. And he called up. He said, "Man, have you listened to this guy Jelly Roll?" And I, "No, not really." I said, "Who is he?" And so he said, "Google the song." And I Googled his song, and I called him right back, and I said, "I want this guy. He's one."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we've become really good friends. He is the most, I mean, he's had his bouts like all of us, you know. I'm wearing my Van Zandt Always Look Up hat, and we've all danced with the D Man over the years and come out above it. And those of us who are here to talk about it. And Jelly Roll is one of those guys, and just a phenomenal guy. And Brett Smith from Shinedown, what a wonderful singer, great singer, great guy. You know, they did Simple Man themselves. Shinedown did, and recorded it, and just a phenomenal night, man. It's a night that if I do 100 million more things, that will be on the top of the number one. It really.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Because it's wonderful for the fans, but I'm thrilled that it meant as much to you, that it
Yeah.
was special.
But
He,
yeah.
by the way, one of the funniest quotes anybody ever said, they sent me a little quote from Jelly Roll said, "I'm from Tennessee, and in an order of importance in Tennessee is Jesus Christ, Leonard Skinner, and football, and then all the other stuff."
Oh,
I thought, you can't really say it any better.
you know, we had a great time, just to let your listeners listen. You know what? The best part about that show, of course, I mean, the playing was great and getting out on stage and doing that. But if you've ever been to the Ryman Auditorium, their dressing rooms are like, I'm sure back then they were big dressing rooms for the artists, but they are super small. And we had 4 or 5 suitcases. It was me, Donnie, my brother Donnie, Gary, and Ricky, all in this one little dressing room. And each other, and we were telling, and of course that went to the bar gigs. You know, well, remember the bar days when the dressing room you were lucky to get a toilet. You know, And but we had such a great night. They're just reminiscing. And who was to know that that was going to be Gary's last show with us? You know, I mean, I really didn't think that night that would be his last show with us. And we just laughed, and they brought us cold pizza, like, and, you know, like they used to be on our rider.
Right, as it should be for any bar gig that you've got.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we just had a blast, man. And all the guests were wonderful. And you know, when you're doing something like that, you don't. I guess you're caught up in the moment where you don't realize exactly how special it is until after math. You know, it's kind of you know, for me, I look back on it and I go, what a night, what a night. If I could live it 100 more times, I'd do it. You know.
Absolutely. Listen, so many of our bands are hitting that magic number, 50th. My buddy George Thorogood, Blue Oyster
Sure.
Cult. And we're friends, and they asked me, hey, Ken, you got to bring us on. 50th anniversary. We do a special show. And backstage, and Johnny, it was just what you said. We got to get the video right. Did we get the song last night? No. Okay, well, if not, let's stay afterwards. When the crowd leaves, we'll redo this and the merchandise. And I said, hey, guys, I love you guys so. Stop for a minute. It's your 50th anniversary show. A couple of changes in personnel along the way, but you too, Eric Bloom, Buck Dharma, you've been there
Yeah.
all the way. Take a minute and take this in. You know, that ball went over the fence. Take a minute, drop the bat, and watch it. Enjoy the moment. And everybody
Sure.
stopped, and Buck hugged me and said, you know, we've been so caught up with the business that we
Yeah.
haven't really stopped. Yeah, it's a 50th anniversary and we'll sell stuff and whatever. But thank you, because we haven't done that. We haven't taken it in.
You know, there's a part in here, and it's not, I don't think we're adding it to the thing, but we started out Freebird, and it was a tuning problem. Gary used to always use, you know, those stirrers that you put in your drink.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He would run it down the neck of his guitar, and that's how he would get that somehow. I don't know.
I never saw that before.
Yeah, but he would get that, you know, on Freebird. And we went into it, and all of a sudden I go, well, where's Gary? We made it through the whole verse, and finally I went, you know what? You're our fans. You love us. We're stopping right now. We're
Let's
going
do
to
this again.
do this again. And it was a wonderful thing. I mean, it really was. It was
Because now you made the audience part of it. Now
oh,
you're all one, right? We're
yeah,
all rooting for it to go well. So I want to ask a favor. I want to share this with the Q104.3 fans. They gave me a sneak of Tuesdays Gone, of
right.
you guys playing with Jelly Roll, singing with you, Johnny Van Zant. Mind if I play it on the air and show them what's coming?
I'd love it. That'd be awesome, man. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, Johnny, this was so much fun. I loved it. You're well, everybody good?
Yeah, everybody's good. Everybody's pretty good. We're headed to Europe this year. We have been over there. You know, we were going to call it quits back in 2020 and just do like charity things, maybe
Sure.
do a few shows. But we had all these shows on the books, and of course, COVID came along, knocked it out, and so we were home for 15 months. And after 15 months, Gary kept calling me, doing the whole time, going, "We can't retire. We can't retire. I don't have anything else to do. This is what I do, you know." And
Johnny, every single musician. Oh, so nice to be off the road. It's so nice to relax. And they call me, Ken, if I don't get out of here in a month, I'm going to kill my family and jump off a cliff. Like, oh, it's so nice to be home, see my friends. I got to get on the road. I got to get on.
you know what? I figured it out. Musicians don't retire; they do less shows.
That's exactly it. Hey, can I share one favorite moment with the Blue
Sure.
Oyster Cult? I said, don't think too hard. What, give me your favorite moment looking back. And my buddy Eric Bloom left. He goes, oh, I got it. You know, I made it. We have Don't Fear the Reaper. I got
Yeah.
my dad all set up. It's close with a retirement thing, all fancy money. And he's always telling me, like, oh, it's great. I love it. So we're playing Miami. He's in Boca. I send a limo for him and his buddies. I take them to the show. Sold out show, 18,000 people all screaming for, he said, his son and his friends. There we are, backstage, VIP. I send them back. And I said, Dad, I want to see you. I want to spend time with you. Thanksgiving, I'm coming down to you. My family's okay. And they go to a steakhouse and we cheer, you know, clink glasses with whiskey. 18 years I've been in the band. And my father says, so you still with the music thing, huh?
You know, no, that's funny because my kids tell me I've always been a real particular about, hey, you know what? I want you to get a college degree. I want you to be smart. I want you to do better than me. But they're always like, Dad, really, after doing all the stuff that we've done, you really don't have a real job, do you?
No, son, I don't. I sing in a rock band.
I know. I said, well, honey, because I have 4 daughters. I go, girls, it bought you a lot of shoes, a lot of water. That no job thing.
Priceless. Priceless.
Well, my mother was like that. Now, my father loved us being in the music business.
Oh, that's awesome.
We always said, you know what, if he could, play a guitar and do that kind of stuff, we'd be his road crew. And but he could sing, but anyway, my mom used to always go, she'd get us, each of us, off to the side and go, when are y'all getting a real job?
Of course.
Boys ain't gonna make a living doing this.
It's amazing how universal that is. How many albums do you have to sell before they stop asking?
Oh, I know. My brother, Donnie from 38, he retired, because he has hearing loss. And me and him doing COVID recorded an album. It's called Always Look Up. I'm wearing the hat today. It's a gospel album. It's something that we always wanted to do.
Beautiful.
Our dad should have been a preacher. So, we had to sit there and listen to it whether we wanted to or not.
Man.
We ended up recording that thing, and it's been a blast, and everybody's been loving it. But, man, thank you for your time today, brother.
It is my pleasure, Joy. I love sharing time with musicians, sharing your passion. And sure. I will tell you, of all these years, not once have I ever seen you guys mail it in. Not a moment, not a song. When you've played for us in the iHeart Radio Theater, whether you've been playing in a stadium, it's always everything all in, foot on the gas. And that way it makes for great music. I appreciate you so.
Hey, you know why that is? Because we all got to go to that place upstairs, and I don't want to get there and Ronnie kick my ass. I gotta get it on.
That's great. Be well. Safe travels, my friend.
God bless you, buddy. Take care.
God bless.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.